Okay, this is another. Today I'm going to talk about another fight breakdown, but also use this conflict as an opportunity to show, um, I guess, the modern woman's challenge in like a highly male-dominated work relationship. That whole clash of different approaches. I think it kind of plays out classically in the board series, and on every level, there's a masculine feminine clash, and there's also a masculine feminine cohesion, a kind of synthesis. But this specifically is an exchange that I think spells out really perfectly, shows out like really well a dysfunctional masculine who's old school, classic CIA type, and the more new school approach, but still professional, but it's the more feminine oriented perspective, but she's still like very like hyper rationally oriented. Or she's rationally integrated, but she's still also connected with her feminine. But this is one kind of I think frequently men will try to overpower women in the workplace um, because on a certain level I think women are maybe more exploitable on the short term, either because of insecurity, their intellectual emphasis on creating like group unity consensus, and so I think men can try to exploit this as a way to get their way, as opposed to getting the ideal result. But this is one tactic where you can see it on play, but in real time. But you have to notice. It's very quick. The exchange between them is very quick, and so I'm gonna try to break this down. But I'm gonna play the scene first, and we'll see how it goes. All right. So, again, I'm a big fan of the Pam Landy character. Um, just especially it's not really necessarily emphasized. It's not touted as this like a super feminist argument, or she's like this hero for feminism. But it kind of shows you how that perspective operates in that hyper logically oriented environment. So it shows the power, I guess, and she's a good example of the positive feminine in I mean, I guess you could say intelligence is a hyper rational, very logically oriented, outcome oriented business, right? But but this is the modern battle. This is the modern battlefield. But everything in this scene just unfolds really quickly. Their whole exchange. So, you know, they go in with different intentions. So maybe you're not familiar with the meeting, but they're trying to negotiate the terms of this working arrangement because they're trying to catch Jason Bourne. All right, he's trying to catch him to kill him in order to cover up whatever he wants to cover up. This is the direct action approach, generally male approach, right? Direct action, kill in the quickest way possible. All right. She's trying to take a step back. She's trying to understand things. She says we have the same outcomes, but we're going about it in very different ways. So this is the dark masculine, and this is the positive feminine. But she's not classic feminine in that she's still in charge of things. She's still very rational, but you could see her juggling both mindsets. I mean, she's still connected with her femininity. She's still compassionate when she needs to be and when she can be, and long-sighted too. So she's trying to understand motives, and he's trying to understand the quickest way to kill. So, I mean, she's here for business, right? He says this is the classic male chivalry, right? Which sometimes it can be chivalry, but sometimes it's manipulative. Sometimes you're just trying to get people to drop their guard. So he comes in and he says, do you want any breakfast, Pam? I'm buying, right? So this is the kind of this is kind of an ambush. He's trying to let her put her guard down, in order to he wants to get her on board with killing Bourne as fast as possible. But he needs her intelligence, her knowledge of Jason Bourne. So, so he has this opening of, and this is kind of like that exchange. So if you give somebody else something, the other person, and it's a psychological tactic, right? So if you give her something, which is free breakfast, right? And this is little subtle subconscious influence games, right? Then she's going to give you something, which is he wants the intelligence to kill Bourne, right? And he comes in, she comes in, she's knowing the stakes of the game. She knows that this is war, but she's not defensive either. So she plays that game of just kind of she's a team player, but she's not going to be manipulated. She's not going to be rolled over on. And it should also be noted that there's similar ranks in the CAA, so they're on equal terms, but he's trying to overpower her on that level. But she says no. I just want coffee black, So immediately, she's not a bitch at all. I mean, she's not turning down genuine chivalry. She's not turning down that. She's not turned off to that, and she's not paranoid that everybody's trying to get one over on her. But she's just recognizing the fact these are very intelligent, very manipulative men, right? And so she's coming to terms with that. She respects their intelligence, respects their rank, but she says, no, like I'm giving you my time and attention, and we're here to negotiate the terms of this working arrangement, right? And also kind of negotiate the outcome. And so he first offers her coffee, she denies that, or offers breakfast, she denies that, and then they go into he starts making an assumption. So when he said when the director requested that you get on or suggested you get on the team, and so that's another subtle psychological tactic, like oh, you're a girl, you get to play, you're a little girl, you get to play in the man's game, right? So, you know, you're lucky for this opportunity. And she immediately corrects him, like, just, you know, because she senses his intention, and she says, are you sure it's just a suggestion? You know, because the director ordered her on the team because she knows Jason Bourne. And this meeting was about deciding how they're going to go about doing it, because, you know, he wants to kill, and she wants to understand and integrate and understand the backstory. So she confronts him on that, but again, she's not bitchy about it. She says, "Are you sure? Are you sure it's just a suggestion?" Right. And then the next was it's another form of like condescension. You know, it could be interpreted as feedback, but in this case and in his character, that's consistent. It's intention to be condescension. You know, he says, you were careless in Madrid or wherever it was. I think they let Jason Bourne through the security, right? And she immediately snaps back. You know, she's in what was the other day. You know, more carelessness. So she's not going to let him get away with any kind of assertion of absolute superiority, because that's his next tactic. I mean, he goes from you know, just kind of polite, I'm doing you a favor. So he understands that that's not working, so he tries the next tactic. Next tactic is, I'm going to put you down in order to get you to comply. Right? So it says, which is to say, you know, you're a failure. We're giving you an opportunity to succeed here, right? to fix that failure. And she says, well, you know, you screwed up yourself. You know, you ended up killing a reporter. And then he gets a little defensive about that. He says, don't judge an operation from an armchair. We decided to do what we had to do. You know, and so he's basically, I mean, he says, don't second guess an operation from an armchair, but that's exactly what he did. So he's kind of hypocritical in this moment. And so that's the back and forth, and she does walk that line between being defending herself, looking out. It's a great show of female assertiveness, almost, and like what that sounds and feels like. But her character, and I don't know if you could tell from the scene, but it's not bitchy at all. I know. If you're strictly defensive against any kind of approach by men or any kind of feedback, then you go into the bitchiness territory, and I mean that's pejorative, but what it means is you're basically difficult to work with, and like you're not open to feedback from another perspective, even if it's feedback with the attention of the greater good, the greater outcome. So if you're interpreting all feedback as some challenge to your authority, then you're in dysfunctional mode, which I'll call bitchy mode for now. But she's clearly not bitchy. She's but she's also very assertive. She will defend herself. She is not going to let somebody play power games with her and overreach their own power, which is what this breakfast was all about. This is what he was trying to do. So it's very quick, very subtle, the condescension, and she kind of toys with it. She plays with it. So even her last remark as she leaves is kind of like the subtle jest of condescension, because she's throwing it back at him, right? So as she leaves, she says, "Oh, enjoy your egg whites," you know, and she says it completely flat, but you can sense the humor in it, because, you know, he was condescending to her the whole time, trying to play this manipulative game, and she's like, "Enjoy your egg whites," was he, you know, afraid of a heart attack. So, very interesting dynamic, this one scene. I mean, I would go back and watch it just to understand it. But good example of female assertiveness, and I think it challenged a lot of female space in the workforce. So, thanks for listening, and I'm going to do some more analysis on sex dynamics and the Bourne series a little bit later on. Thanks.